Insight that we have genuinely never thought about before. Or in the case of a literature class, when you offer us maybe a way of entering a text that we have entered many times before, or that we perhaps have not entered before, and introduce a new insight that sort of changes the way we view that text. And that independent study experience for me was that sort of experience. I felt that I learned a tremendous amount myself from the experience of meeting weekly with Whitney, and I found that once the fall semester ended, I really missed the fact that we had that we met every Friday afternoon at noon for lunch, although sometimes I was a little bit late, Whitney would tell you. And sometimes we talked for an hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes at a time, although the conversation was not always about literature. Sometimes it was about other things. But that is an experience, Whitney, that I will never forget. And I thank you for it. Whitney and I also had a lot of good times traveling to honors conferences. We went to the National Honors Conference together twice, once in Washington, D.C., where I had the opportunity of introducing Whitney, I think, to Ethiopian food at a restaurant in Northwest Washington, and then once in Kansas City this past fall. Those of you who are students in the program need to know that Whitney really has represented you with distinction as a member of the Honors Program Steering Committee. She has always put your interests foremost in our meetings. And I think she has played a very important role in that regard. In addition, Whitney served in a number of other capacities on campus. She's been a tutor for the Disabilities Services Program. And I learned only recently that apparently her fellow students were asking her to write letters of recommendation for them when they applied for jobs as community advisors or other leadership positions on campus. And I think that really underscores the esteem with which in which her peers hold her. It is impossible for me to even tell you how much I'm going to miss you, Whitney, but thank God for Facebook. I mean, that's all I can say. I know that Whitney plans probably to attend graduate school, although I also wanted to say that she's the college's nominee for a very prestigious fellowship about which she has not heard yet, so I think she's not entirely sure what she'll be doing next year, but we know that whatever that is, she'll be representing the Boone Honors Program with distinction and representing Ferrum College with distinction. Toward the end of my very favorite book, which is Charlotte's Web, E.B. White writes, "It is not often that someone comes along who is both a great writer and a good friend. Charlotte was both. You have been both those things to me, Whitney. And I thank you for it, and I have a little token of my appreciation for you."
I'm gonna cry.
Okay. Normally I'd like to take a photograph of the group of graduates at the end of the honors program, but since you have to run off tonight,